Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher. And today we're going to take a look at the Tangle Sunspots from Rosemary Turpin. So as I was looking at tangles to play with, I found this one and I thought, oh, this is neat. And looking at the picture first, it made me think a little of snowflakes. And being that it is January, why not? So it is rather neat. It's a grid pattern, so I'm going to start off. I'm going to put a little border around versus around the edge versus going off of the edge. Sometimes I like to do that. And let's see. I'm going to do. Nope, I'm going to do a four square so that way you can see. Because that's the objective. You can just imagine what this will look like in a section with more space, more grid, more boxes. Okay, so once you have your grid set up, then start off in the intersections, and we're just going to put a big orb. And I'll come back and fill these in. So because this is a four square, you just have to imagine, okay, if this was going on, or actually when you come to the end of your grid, knowing that, well, this is an intersection, this would be an intersection, right? We'll just put the partial orb, not circle, orb, in there. All right, now, the beauty of of this one is if like that that's why that's okay. For a minute I thought I had a goopy pen, but I grabbed the wrong one. That's graphic 2, graphic 3. All right, this will do. So like this didn't turn out so hot. Well, we'll fix that. And I'm using the 12 number 12 nib. And you can just adjust it. Now, you're probably wondering, well, why did you do all of that with the thinner? Well, because, well, this circle wouldn't have been bad, but I just try to not go over the side, over where it's not supposed to be, and I find it, this is just me personally, I find it easier to go with the 01 and then fill in with this, so I can get close to the edge with it. But if I don't know. Okay, it's just a security blanket. That's all it is. Now, if I have misplaced, I have to do some digging. I've misplaced a box of graphic ones. They're here somewhere, and that has more of a tip to it than this. So that I might do, but see what happened there? That's what I try to avoid. So I will outline and then fill in, and outline working to stay in pretty much inside, or just tracing over and being careful. Okay, and that, see, and if you get that, and if it really bothers you, like it really bothers me, then we just adjust, course correct. Oops, one left. With the 01. Now, when you do this with a nice juicy pen like this, just be careful where you put your fingers because it's still wet. And, well, it depends on the paper that you use. This is like a cotton, I think it's like a cold press watercolor paper by Fabriano. And, actually, I'm going to reshape this again. There we go. And, it stays wet for just a little bit. So just beware, because you wouldn't want to have little fingerprints all over. And this is why sometimes I'll do this, and I'll put, if I have nails, if they're behaving, and I'll just put my fingernails on like that. So if you see me doing that, that's why it's my little safety measure, so that way I'm not sticking my fingers in. Okay. It's one of those things that I just don't think about until I notice. I'm like, oh, what am I doing there? All right. Then after you have all of the intersections covered with orbs, then in the inside of the sections, we're also going to do an orbs. I'll see this one I'll do with this because it doesn't matter. I'm just doing an orb. I'm not, trying to have it line up on a line and go over and all that kind of stuff. But that's just Heather's rules for Heather. I share just in case. In case you maybe have those same internal rules or think about it and just go, well, I wonder why X. All right. This is gonna. It's like you adjust one and then the other ones look small. It's like they're never all going to be perfect, so there's a point where you just don't worry about it. Okay. Now, after this, we're going to aura. And, I actually I'm rethinking, well, I could have, oh, it's all right. We got all the orbs done, so we're in orb thought, and now we'll move from orb thought to aura thought. And so we're only going to aura the orbs that go on the intersections. And if it helps, you could do this where you're just kind of going section to section and auraing just that section of the orb. So just like that. And if you need to move your tile so that way your hand is comfortable. I'm apparently going no rhyme or reason here. All right, now I am. I'm going on the exterior. And again, only the ones that are, on the intersection. So those inside ones, we are not going to worry about those. Not auraing those ones. Okay. Now I did add a few steps on the step out to what Rosemary has on hers, just for clarity's sake. Now the last one, I'm tempted on maybe adding a few more boxes, but I think you'll get this part. Well, actually, no. This one I did split out. So we're gonna draw diagonal lines through this center, and if you kind of like, I can see the indent from where my pen was, but you don't have to do that. You can just go from the center. That might even be safer. Center to the outside, and to that. So we're basically putting X's in. And yes, we are going through that aurad section. This is where, like if you almost focus on, just coming from here to here, this can maybe be a little forgiving depending on how your grid lines up. So that way, if you're just drawing a straight line, it might go a little wonky on you. All right. So then, and that looks kind of neat just on its own, right? So the next step, this is the one where I was debating on, should I do another one? But, another step, but I'm thinking not. So what we're going to do here is looking at only the orbs that have auras, so the ones that are covered on the intersection. We're going to create diamonds coming off on these lines. Now this part you could have as much fun as you want with, I'm going to say. And in Rosemary's step out, she has a lot more, she has a diamond on the line and then one in between. And I think because maybe I made my orbs a little too big, fit what you can fit. So what I'm starting with is, and this is how it ended up on my step out. I didn't want to add too much and make it confusing. So I'm coming from the base here, and I'm going to draw a little straight line out either side, and then take that straight line and yes, and and this is one where you could go up just as far as you want to. I'm going to make mine a little bit bigger. and then fill it in. Now I could make that a little bit more angled there on the bottom. And then, so right now just focusing on this center. And same thing, so every line you come to, and this is where, like I said, I don't have enough room that I can see to put in additional one. Now, if I made them a little bit narrower, then I could. Like that. Now, one thing, another additional thing that I found was similar to using the course correction of the fill-in. You can go back and reshape these. So, don't, maybe if you want to undershoot, and knowing that you can come back and redefine these lines, like here, you just, well, we'll see as I get done here. Maybe, I'm sure it wouldn't be normal if I didn't have at least one that I could do this with. And I don't know, to me it has an interesting kind of quilty pattern in my mind. I mean, I'm not a quilter, I'm not studying quilt. It just makes me think of that. But because of these, the diamond shapes, I don't know, it just made me think of snowflakes, and probably because the way it jots out here. And then we're going to do this on every, do the same thing on every orad orb section. So we won't be having any coming out from these ones. But again, this is where I think that you can have a lot of fun playing with the length of them, the width of them, and if you can fit in more, great. And see, there's some places like right here I could fit in more, but I'm thinking, at least for me, for right now, I'm just sticking with putting them on each line, and then we'll go from there and see what happens. And sometimes they don't end up even. And again, course corrections. And you see how neat that looks. So we'll start, I'm just going to come from this one. And again, well, yeah. Coming from the line and going out. I'm also thinking I could totally play with that aura, and maybe make that aura a little bit at a further distance from the orb, and that would have an interesting effect also. And then I wouldn't be that might actually might help be able to fit more in. Let me look back at. Yeah, hers was a little bit greater distance, just a smidge. We're probably talking, a millimeter or so. And then when you come to the side like this, so I'm just doing a half one. Like that. And let me finish this one. And then what I do believe I'm going to do, so that way you don't have to, well, if you're tangling along, you can keep tangling. I might hit pause, maybe. And just because I don't think I could. Sometimes I'll kind of give the stuff that information that I usually save for the end. But sometimes tangling and doing that at the same time doesn't work well. So, but you can kind of see already. It just has a really, really neat effect, in my opinion. And I do have an idea. Looks like I could fit something in. I'm gonna work to do that. All right. So here's what I'm gonna do. If you are tangling along, keep tangling. Hit in a moment. I'm gonna hit pause. You hit pause at the same time. Keep putting these diamonds just in. I would encourage you, just do them on the spokes for right now. And when you're done, unpause, and I'll be done at the same time. It's like magic. All right, see you in a minute. This way nobody's, painfully watching me, doing this. Because it could be painful. All right, so if you're tangling along, hit pause and unpause when you're done. We'll see you in a minute. All right, welcome back. So, as you can see, all of those triangles are in there, and it has a really, really neat look. But I'm going to go back, I think, on my little step out and add these. Because, and here's what I find interesting. After I've completed just putting them on the spokes, I wasn't feeling like I necessarily had room. But you know what I can see, especially in the center? Yeah, I've got some room, and we can make some room. So here's how I'm going to start off this. As I'm going to kind of have them butt up next to each other and just make some little thin ones, just like that. So coming from the edges of what I already have, and both ways. So doing a two straight lines up here, making the top V, and then on the bottom making the bottom V. And if it's particularly narrow, it's okay. We get the impression. And it's good. And then next time when I do it, I will work to maybe make these guys not so fat. But it is also nice to have the differing sizes. And that's one of the things that I noticed in Rosemary's step out, is that they were a bit different sizes. In this way, no matter what, however much room that I have, that I've given myself, because I'm, starting at the edges of the existing diamonds and using that as my, starting and ending point, that does seem to help. And then two, you kind of get a little bit of a solid ring, yeah, around the outside, sort of, just with having them touch. I don't know. I think it looks neat. You may have a better idea, and that's great. That's what Zentangle's about. And as it fills in, I don't know. To me, I like I said, it just kind of made me think of snowflakes a little bit, and maybe it's just because my mind is like, ooh, let's find some more tangles that have that snowflake feel. Because they're fun. I like collecting them. All right. Oh, this has so much interesting potential for all of this extra fun. Yeah, definitely do the spokes first. Definitely, definitely. Yeah, and you can see how it's shaping up. Just really, really cool. All right. As I finish this, because you get the idea, and actually, let me think here. She doesn't really share, shading. Could do some shading, I suppose. Although this might be one that you just don't. Up to you. Up to you. I'm thinking maybe you could put some around these orbs. I don't know. I'm going to think on it for a little bit as I finish this here. And as I finish this here, let me mention in the description section, I think I mentioned it, but I'm going to mention it again just in case. Uh, you will find links to step outs. I always do my own version and then link to the originator of the tangle. I call that for more inspiration, so you will see that. And if you have trouble finding the description section, I did have that. I've had that question just a couple times, but just in case. Now it depends on how you're accessing this, but it's if you look at the name of the video, you will see. Sometimes you can click on that, or you'll see where it says "See More." It might have like the first line, which of the description, and then where you can click and say "See More." Information it'll look like a link, or it might just have a little down arrow, kind of looks like like that, but wider, and or no, more like the bottom half, and where you can click click on that to access the description section. So I have trouble finding it on some places, and it just depends on if I'm using, my phone or the desktop, and like I said, it's different places in on both devices, so it depends on what you have. Also, below all of that is a link to my website. So if you'd like to connect with me, if you'd like to take some online classes, I do teach almost twice weekly. And I should say it's it's almost 4 times weekly, because every day that I do, so it's Tuesdays and Thursdays of my time, I do 2 sessions a day. So on Thursdays I do 2 sessions, so it's really 4 times. But we do the same thing both sessions. We just have a heck of a lot more fun, because we'll have a lot of people from the AM, what I call the AM session, because it's AM my time. We'll come to both, and it's a lot of fun. I'll warn you, we do have a lot of laughter that goes on, because laughter is the best medicine. And a lot of us look at Zentangle as a personal therapeutic exercise, and why not add the laughter to it? And we do our share of that for sure. Yeah, like I said, it's a lot of fun. So we'd love to have you join us. That information is on my website, and below that is a link to our amazing private Facebook group. So if you happen to be on Facebook, would love to have you join us there. Just to let you know, there are a couple of required questions. I think I have like four. They call them questions. Some of them are just statements, and I'm just looking for agreement. But 2 of them are required, so that kind of, you have to do those 2. And I just give that as a warning, because I do get a lot that don't seem to answer, and it could be maybe they changed their mind, or I don't know what, but they just end up getting automatically declined. So we have that. And lastly, if you do go to my website, would love to have you click on my blog. To the right hand side, you can put in your email address and follow me. We are doing a daily tangle, so this is the daily tangle. Actually, it's for tomorrow. That's why I post these late. It's for the next day. And right now we're doing Happy New Year tangles. That's what I've called for the month of January. And it's a lot of fun. You'll see those lists on the menu on my website as well. And like I said, see, look at this. It's just really, really cute. Really cute. Now I got some that are a little odd shaped, like this one. So let's take, I did mention, might have to course correct some of these. So let's take this one. And see, and I'm just tracing over the edge and redefining the edge. And so as I do that, you see, that's just like magic. As I do it, it just naturally, because I'm not going to hit it exactly, it's going to go out just a little bit, but it's not too far where it's all of a sudden, oh no, look at that, I've made a mess. This one you could kind of turn into like is it compass rose that I'm thinking of? Like a map star type of thing. But it all depends on how you do it. I kind of like having them reach and touch like that, especially coming from the center, because that's the way I've done it. Neat, though. And like I said, I saw this as, immediately thought of snowflakes. Maybe you see something else, and that's okay. I want that to go in a little bit, but I don't think I'm going to make it. Okay. Yeah. So, would love to have you connect, as I mentioned. If you liked the video, would love to also have you click like. Feel free to share it, leave comments, and if you liked it enough to see more, would love to have you be a subscriber to the channel. I do post daily. Sometimes I might post up to 3 videos, because if I have a class replay that I'm putting out, I put those out. I try not to do more than 1 of those a day. I do have a lot that I have to get caught up on, so you might see that. And I mention that because if you don't like your phone or your device or your email blowing up with notifications, make sure to hit the notification bell so that way you can tell it no notifications or yes notifications, up to you. You customize it, but I want to make sure that you're aware, because I'd rather have you get no notifications and than to unsubscribe because your phone's blown up or whatever. So, all right. So, and any and all of those actions, I appreciate. It helps tell YouTube that hey, this kind of person likes this, and so maybe this other kind of person would like this. It helps to spread the word. So, and again, I appreciate it. And with that, thanks so much for watching, and I wish you happy tangling.